International Women's Day 2024. Invest in women. Accelerate progress. A natural inclination and the encouragement of a community opened up a completely new world to this thespian. How did you become interested in theatre?
It started in church. My grandmother is a Venezuelan immigrant, and so while living in Venezuela, she practiced Santeria traditions. And so when she came to Trinidad, the closest thing to that was spiritual Baptist, by her account. So we started going to the Tentacula Baptist Church and Sunday school. They put a script in my hand and it was all over. Very early, the religious leaders in the church, they said, yeah, there's something very special about how you come alive when you come on stage and your voice is so colorful and so bright and you're so present. And I think the seed was sown then. And since then, I have followed the path of theatre and performance, and it's been more than 20 years, yeah.
What were some of the challenges along your journey?
I definitely think that I fit into several tropes. So I am Caribbean, I am Trinbagonian, I am Black, I am woman, I'm under 40, and the industry, the creative industry in particular, have very specific prescriptions for how women must carry about themselves, how they must behave, the kind of barriers that they can overcome, the kind of spaces that they're allowed to sit in, how loud their voices are supposed to be. And I think at some point in time I have faced every last one of that. I did not particularly come from a family that has its own legacy made out and built up, so a lot of things was starting from scratch, and that has been a particular challenge. I also feel that when it comes to barriers and limitations, I hear a lot about what I cannot do. And those things are challenges, not because I have internalized them, I mean really actually because I haven't, but I continue to hear about those brackets that women must sit in, must stand in, those boundaries that they can't go beyond. I mean, I continue to hear and experience those.
What are some of your career highlights and successes?
I have had the good fortune of working with tremendous talents over the years. I have done the Tobago Heritage, I've done the Best Village, I have produced work in Carifesta, I've produced work in other islands in the region, I've produced work internationally. I've been very fortunate to marry my practice of theatre with my love for research, because I'm also a cultural researcher, and to have had that work published. So I think my wins are really about impact. My wins have been about how have I been able to use the practice and the skills that I've honed over the last 15, 10, 20 years and make it meaningful for this generation and the generation to come. The other thing I count a win is my ability to constantly say what I mean what I say. I live by my word. My word matters to me, artistic integrity matters to me. And so most times, a win for me is that if I am on a project, it's because I see the value in it. For me, winning is how you walk, winning is how you show up in space, winning is how you talk. And so while I count some of the bigger initiatives, the groups that I've worked with, the companies that I've worked with, wins, being a woman for me, and winning is about dailiness, winning is about how I get up, how I show up, how I speak to people, particularly in a space that could feel aggressive, it can feel pulled down sometimes, which is the creative space, very competitive. The constant wins for me is that I maintain myself and my authenticity inside of the industry.
What are some of your favorite projects from over the years?
I think the most recent was Queen of the Road, the Calypso Rose musical. Favorite because of how it developed. So it started in Toronto, I was very fortunate to lead a team of wonderful talent from T-Park into Toronto, and we produced a kind of workshop version of it. And then they moved to Tobago right here in Shaw Park for the world premiere. And that was very exciting. So it's the project, yes, but also I had an opportunity to sit at Calypso Rose's feet to learn about her life. I got to live 50 years. I got to live in the 1960s and the 1950s, and to learn about how difficult it was for women, and to reference and to study an example of a woman who, no matter how difficult it was, she just kept climbing, and she climbed, and she persevered, and she persevered, and she persevered. And Calypso Rose is close to my heart, not just because she's Tobagonian, but because she's a winner, because she's a heroine, because she led by example. So that was an important project. Last year we did a Broadway musical, which was Once on This Island. I've had the opportunity to present work at Carnival conferences in Ghana. Early this year I went to Jamaica and did some research work. All my projects are my favorite projects. So you hear me call them Calypso Road stands out. But if I say, this is a project I want to do, it automatically becomes my favorite. Yeah, because I'm kind of choosy about what I do and what I don't do. Yeah.
How do you think we can invest in women to accelerate their progress?
I think it begins by teaching them the things that the society does not really speak out loud. I think it has to do about teaching them the things that people whisper, which is that there are no hurdles that women cannot cross. There is no space that women cannot take up. There is no achievement that women cannot attain. There is no heights that women cannot get to. I think, and the conversation has to begin from the time women or girls are most impressionable. I think we need more spaces where women can discover their fuller selves. And I'm not just talking about their cultural selves, I'm talking about their social selves. I think investing in women has to do with building up the confidence of women, the social confidence, the spiritual confidence. There is no doubt that women are still very heavily chastised, and that is why quite a lot of women are afraid to speak up, particularly about the things that they feel passionate about. So I think investing in women is about nurturing spaces where women's voices can be heard in a particular kind of way. A lot of people might say that there are so much opportunities for women, there are so more opportunities for women. I think investing in women also means that we have to get very strategic about how we curate different initiatives to target different kinds of women. Because the marginalized woman who might have 3+ children, who is working 2 jobs, will benefit from a program very differently from a woman who is in corporate space, who has no children, who is about career. So it's really about getting down to the strategy of what kinds of initiatives can benefit every specific sector of women or target of women, and not just do the broad brush. We say all women, because all women are not the same. All spaces are not the same. That's one of the ways I think we can invest in women. I mean, education, not just academic education, social education, cultural education. I think our society can benefit from women who have interest in traditional skills. Cooking, sewing, the entrepreneur, the woman who makes the bene ball and the sugar cake, the woman who makes batik and tie-dye, the woman who is interested in farming and can teach other small girls about the value of farming. And we're talking about investing in women, and we're talking about diversifying economy. If we can find ways to bring those things into conversation, I think women can become central to any discussion. And UN will tell you, if women are central to the development of any nation, then the nation itself will thrive.
Do you think it is important to celebrate International Women's Day annually?
Absolutely. I'm even thinking if we could celebrate it quarterly. There are not enough opportunities for, at least I don't think there are enough opportunities for us to talk about how women triumph, and sometimes in the most seemingly insignificant ways. I think systemically, like I said before, women have a lot more hurdles to overcome, barriers to overcome. And if we can create space for the women who are doing champion work, legacy work in their small spaces, in the rural communities, in the urban communities, to talk about, if we can find them and make space for their voices. I think that will kind of help to propel the conversation, and International Women's Day is an opportunity for some of those voices to find light, for some of these stories of that same triumph to find light. And again, for us to really get tactical and strategic about centralizing the experiences of women, because whether or not we like it, women are still a significantly more marginalized group than any other group in the world, not just in the country. And we just have to do better. To do better, we have to strategize.
Invest in women. Accelerate progress. The Office of the Parliament celebrates International Women's Day 2024.